Hello, I'm Coach Darren Slack for Ask NFA. We want to thank everyone for the great response we're getting for the Ask NFA podcast. Let's keep it going by having you send in more excellent questions like we have this week. Our first question comes from a coach asking, how do I get my quarterback who's shy to be more of a vocal leader? Well, honestly, it depends on your definition of shy. Is the quarterback shy because he's insecure as a person and projects a lack of confidence, or is he just a quiet but talented player that likes to speak with his actions? We would prefer the latter, as that is just a matter of setting your expectation for him, maybe holding him accountable more for his vocality. But more times than not, unfortunately, the former shy quarterback lacks a measure of confidence that needs to be developed. So here's a few suggestions for dealing with the immature, more shy quarterback to make him more of a vocal leader. First, you want to meet with the shy quarterback away from the office or any potentially intimidating environment. This will set him at ease. You want to ask questions to understand why he's unwilling to be more vocal. Does he understand his role? Does he understand what coaches expect from him? Does he understand how his leadership is perceived by the team? Now, once you get some feedback on these issues, you'll have a clearer picture of how to set the quarterback up to take a more vocal role in different settings. Like, here's some suggestions. You could create some vocal situations like leading film sessions, whiteboard talks, teaching drill segments to younger players, reviewing coaching points on plays in practice with the whole offense and coaching staff present. Now, if the quarterback expresses concern about doing these things, you may need to work him through it, or how to go about it, what to say, and when. But each of these moments represents a unique opportunity to reinforce and affirm the quarterback's effort, no matter how small. The courage of this process may be challenging and a chain-moving one at first, but it requires patience as the quarterback learns to step into his role. Now, it's really important that you don't expect him to be good at the nuance of leadership right away, especially when he starts speaking more. He's going to overdo it, he'll overreact, and he's probably going to offend some players. He's trying to do something that he's not used to doing, so work with him. Be prepared to have to come behind him and explain to those players that he offended what you're trying to do with the quarterback so they have a context for how to respond to it. Make sure you set regular feedback meetings with the quarterback to go over specific steps he's taking. And especially with the goals he's pursuing, he needs to be encouraged that he's making progress. When it comes to vocality in games, I would suggest you minimize your expectations in the initial development process. If he's getting the play called and the team's moving on his command, let him find his own voice. Encourage him to take control as best he can and validate whatever effort you observe. Just tell him we're going to walk before we run. In the meantime, talk to your captains on the field and have them cover for him in controlling the huddle and keeping everyone else responding to him, especially if there's a lot of chatter going on. Aside from a direct, structured approach, I'm afraid you're going to have to wait and hope the quarterback has an aha moment and starts to grow up. I found the direct approach, while higher maintenance at first, expedites the growth process and gets everyone on the same page quicker. The real and unexpected benefit of challenging this shy quarterback to be more vocal with these specific steps is how it positively influences the other quarterbacks to be more intentional in their efforts as well. If he's QB1, they'll usually pick up on what he's trying to do and they'll follow his lead. If he's a backup doing it, he'll challenge the starter to step up his game to match. Many coaches say they don't have time to work on developing this aspect of the quarterbacks, but I would suggest that a coach has nothing better to do than to help a young man find his voice, understand his role, and build his confidence to fulfill that role that he'll play for his entire life, the role of a leader of men. So let's make it happen, coaches. Good luck. So here's a few questions from some quarterbacks. How do I get more arm speed? The simple answer is to move your arm faster during the throw motion. But just saying that isn't helpful without some important sequencing or timing keys to govern that increased arm speed. If just saying it were enough, you'd already be doing it. To get more arm speed, you have to understand the arm and its role in the throwing motion just a little better. So let me give you a couple of thoughts. The arm throws the ball, we know that, but more specifically, it has to throw the ball accurately and with the right amount of power to the target. Some focus more on throwing hard and generating power when trying to throw a ball to a target, so their accuracy suffers. They'll tend to spin their shoulders faster and drive their throw shoulder forward with little thought for where the arm is supposed to be, just so long as it's above the shoulder. They just figure out where to let the ball go through repetition. Some are told to get their arms so high that they're forced to windmill their release, causing the ball to sail or to go right into the ground when the power increases. Still others try to throw with more accuracy and end up tentatively aiming the ball so there isn't enough power to get the ball to the target. So it ends up with an overly high arc in flight, or it's low when it hits the receiver. All these players reduce power through things like winding up or dropping the ball down behind their head or pulling the ball down on the release. Timing is critical to the right balance of accuracy and power in a throw, and that timing is best managed through arm speed. Arm speed isn't throwing the ball harder in our mind, although the ball will fly faster. It's about the arm's intentional acceleration relationship to the body's speed of the turn during the motion. In most cases, the QB's arm moves too slowly during the body's turn, causing it to be dragged through the release point, causing all kinds of issues. More naturally talented throwers and well-taught throwers understand the importance of accelerating the arm ahead of the throw shoulder early in the release to get it into the position to receive the power of the body coming behind it. See, like a surfer paddling into a wave just before it breaks, the elbow must accelerate faster than the body is turning. So once the body is square, the elbow should be forward of the shoulder at the position we call zero position, roughly 6 inches forward of the shoulder at the point where you would likely do a tricep extension like this. This is the last position the elbow will be in prior to the arm extending out to the receiver as the body finishes its turn into the target hallway. By knowing where this position is and the fact that you must get there before the body is square to the target, now you have a standard or a requirement in the release that greatly enhances your sense of urgency for the arm to get through. Without this clear standard, quarterbacks sense no need to go faster, and thus they lose a significant competitive advantage. In simple terms, because the arm, and more specifically the elbow, is farthest from the release point when the motion starts, it's way back here, it must explode to zero as the body makes the turn. We want to sprint with the arm, walk with the body. Now that we understand what's expected, there's a few things you can do to help you speed your arm up during the throwing motion. First, in your mind, make the elbow's explosion forward to zero your highest priority at the start of the motion. Don't allow any other focus in your throw except getting the arm through fast. This increased speed will make accuracy difficult at first because it's just going faster. But if the quarterback learns to extend or reach more to his release point, letting the ball go after it passes the elbow on the way out, you'll notice more control. Most lose control going faster because they're used to pulling down or slashing their release. Extension will greatly improve accuracy and control coming off this increased arm speed. Next, you want to make sure you sustain a wider base with your feet outside your hips at all times. This will make you balanced and ready to fire. This pre-strided width of your feet will also reduce the need for a long stride to get the ball out. Getting the front foot in the ground quicker on the drive will go a long way to helping this process of speeding up the arm. As the arm starts forward aggressively, squeeze the core, don't spin the shoulders. This will keep the front shoulder closed a half a count longer, allowing your arm to move forward quickly to get to zero position. At the end of this process is a much quicker release with less variables that we have to deal with under pressure. It's important that we risk the increased arm speed as this will lead to the quarterback being more aware of wasted and unnecessary movements that have to be gotten rid of in the release. It'll help them take them out faster. What you'll notice is that the ball is arriving on the target more with greater velocity, and there aren't really as many bad throws. So good luck with that, and I hope that helps you with your arm speed. Our final two questions come from parents. Why is it bad to hold the ball up by your ear in pre-pass? This is probably one of the most taught yet misunderstood coaching points in throwing mechanics teaching today. Having the ball up by the ear is believed to make the release faster, to reduce unwanted mechanics issues, but in more cases than not, it leads to some unhelpful problems like winding up, looping, and slashing, none of which makes the release quicker as the coach desires. First, if the quarterback has the ball up by his ear, his mobility, speed, and acceleration are all slowed substantially because he's forced awkwardly to hold the ball up here instead of using his arms to help him move his body faster in the pocket. Also, this high ball position encourages the throwing wrist to curl prior to the start of the motion, thus making the much-needed extension to sustain power and accuracy impossible. You can't extend a curled wrist. Now, Dan Marino was famous for his low positioning of the ball, yet still having one of the fastest releases in the game. This is because his arm speed was phenomenal. There are no quarterbacks at the higher levels who carry the ball this high because they understand that where the ball starts isn't as important as where the arm begins. It's actually going to be the arm that's throwing the ball, not the ball throwing itself. So the ball up by the ear will cause the elbow to drop, thus causing the quarterback to be encouraged to drop the ball at the start of the motion, trying to wind up more than necessary to generate force. He's trying to get the ball in a position where he can get power. There's just no power the quarterback can generate from this higher position. Imagine this. Try to throw a punch with your fist starting by your ear. You wouldn't generate near the power you could if you started it off the back shoulder a little lower. We need to use this lower, more naturally powerful position as the starting point of the ball. And then from there, focus on the acceleration of the arm through the proper path to the target. The ball being attached to the hand will end up where it must be to be released faster and more accurately. Starting it up here isn't going to make a difference. It's time to let go of the faulty belief that having the ball up by the ear will improve the throwing motion. We need to do our homework on understanding proper arm path, elevation, and arm acceleration to make the release as fast as we desire. I would refer you to my earlier answer on the arm speed for some tips on improving the speed of release without having to put the ball up by your ear. Our final question is, do we have any experience or recommendations on Eon or other 3D virtual reality tools? This final question regarding the value of mental reps for speeding up recognition and decision-making using 3D platform tools is very important. One of the great challenges of watching a video and preparing a quarterback to read and recognize coverage is that his point of view is always from the press box, from the side of the field. The end zone video camera is usually just a tight shot of what the line of scrimmage is doing, the offensive line, so that isn't much help either. So the quarterback is forced to consistently convert the side view to the one inside his helmet. This can be a difficult challenge for a young man trying to learn to read and recognize coverage from the side and then to the front. 3D programs and tools like Eon and other virtual reality programs allow the quarterback to see the field as it will be in real time through his helmet. This can be very important to improve things like depth perception, reduce fields of vision with linemen in the way, and confidence to recognize coverage under pressure. Many quarterbacks do fine watching film, but when they're in the pocket, the severe change in lost vision, the pressure of the rush make the decision-making process more difficult. This is because they don't have a foundation in recognition. These programs will greatly assist the quarterback in growing their confidence to recognize defensive looks, tendencies that the coach points out, and reduces the learning curve with getting them comfortable with the distraction in the pocket. Now, one thing you need to know, it won't necessarily speed up the decision-making process at the point of the throw, as that process is primarily defined by the expectation of the coach and how the quarterback is taught to determine what is open and when. 3D programs fall short in delivering game speed visuals that allow the quarterback to do that. However, 3D tools will speed up the development of the quarterback's football IQ, his recognition, and getting his eyes to the proper decision that needs to be made post-snap. All the players move after snap, so the 3D program will lose its effectiveness because it cannot replicate the speed of real-time throwing. However, the value of mental reps provided do wonders for confidence and awareness in most young quarterbacks. So there's no substitute for reps from the pocket with the full rush. But 3D tools like Eon and virtual reality systems are going to help a lot of young men mature in their football knowledge and recognition faster than ever before. I do hope this helps you, and remember to send us your questions. We need them to keep serving you this way. Remember, it's our goal and passion at NFA to make you better, faster. See you next time.